Welcome to Relate with Miss Lisa and Ruben. Hooray! It's already Season 5. Welcome to our brand new seasoned episodes. Alrighty then, let's just do it. Take a listen to episode 2 of Season 5. We're calling it What's Wrong? Listen to this relatable, transparent segment of Miss Lisa and Ruben as they give their opinions on dating and relationships.
I can see you're in need, baby, please talk to me now. Swear nothing is wrong, you're so strong. Baby, don't hold this inside, relax your pride, let it go, set it free, my baby, talk to me now. What's wrong? Wrong with you? Why don't you tell me what you're going through now? What's wrong? Wrong with you? Why don't you tell me what you're
Needed out there.
Yes, I can.
What that you become bonded together the way
Just the
God
whole
intended?
understanding of how God intended,
Yeah,
what God intended with sex. And he's like, it's not just for your pleasure. Oh, well, I like to do this, so I'm just going to do it as much as I can. That there is a purpose behind it.
the way it's laid out as to what sex is intended it to be. What sex is intended to be, rather, the way it's laid out, is beautiful. How did you receive
Yeah.
it?
How did I receive it?
I mean, yeah, like you just explained it.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was very beautiful. I don't think a lot of us understood it in that context.
I always thought it was, very helpful. Would be very helpful if more teachers and preachers talk about what sex is intended to be, how it was intended by God, and how we wrecked it and we made it something it wasn't supposed to be,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep. But then he was talking about his wife, and he's like, so the more you share in this intimate act, the more you become one, and the more you start to have his mind, heart. He starts to have your mind, heart, and he's like, and it's interesting. He's like, opposites attract, and he's like, how many of you feel like you're like completely opposite from your husband? And it's like all these hands go up, and he's like, yeah, me and my wife, we are completely opposite. And he was talking about, I'm very talkative, and she's not. I like to travel and she doesn't. It's like we like to go to Hawaii and she'll always ask, did they build a train there yet? And he's like, no, you got to get on a plane. And he was like, we're at a conference and she'll say, do I have to meet people? And he's like, of course you have to meet people. We're speakers here. And she's like, well, do I have to speak? And he's like, no, I'm speaking, but you're my wife. So you're going to have to, talk to some people.
She wasn't
So it's
trying to
funny.
understand.
Huh?
She wasn't trying to understand.
And so he was saying how, he can know when something's wrong. And he's like, I can sense it when something's wrong. And I'll ask her, hey, babe, is there anything wrong? And she'll say, nope, everything's okay. And he's like, yeah, and I know you just lied to me because I said something is wrong. So that just kind of brought me back to us.
Us.
When you asked me if something was wrong, and I was like, no, nothing's wrong.
Oh, okay. Is this confession time? Go ahead. I'm listening.
Well, no, I mean, I told you eventually what was bothering me. But it was just kind of interesting to hear another man say the same thing about his wife. He's like, yeah, because I could discern that, she's upset about something. So I'm like, hey, babe, is there anything wrong? And she's like, no, everything's okay. And he's like, yep, and you just lied to me because I know something's wrong. I can sense it.
And those are the dangers that marriages and relationship. Really, I want to just focus on the marriage part because I'm not discrediting anybody who's in a serious relationship or dating or anything like that. But when you're married, that's a whole whole brand new, different type of relationship. I mean, it's like, man, you can't hide your psyche when you're married. Everything comes out. Everything is front and center. I mean, you both get to see each other in your true form. It's no faking it, no nothing. You know more about each other than your parents know about you. And in some cases, you've been with that person longer than you've been with your parents, because most people may have started college, moved out, graduated high school when they were 16, 17. I was 16 when I did graduated high school. But that's 16 years with my mother. But when I was married, that was 22 years of marriage. So she knew everything, not just, the good, but she knew the bad and ugly. And she knew what my friends and fellow confidant didn't know about me. And I knew the same about her. So it's like, that's when your trust is really sacred. You don't try to sugarcoat anything. It's nothing sugarcoated, actually. It's right in your face. So when I can sense something going on with you, it's when I like what he used, discernment. When I can discern that something is going on with you, that's a form of what you can add to the list of love language. Because I'm able to discern when you happy, sad, mad, disappointed, or just want to be loved. Sometimes the answer doesn't come right away. That's why the question is asked, what's wrong, baby? A person who don't care wouldn't even ask in that way. They would probably, I've heard certain statements like, what's wrong with you? Why are you tripping all of a sudden? That's making the situation worse when you really don't know what's wrong. So, man, it's not a good feeling when your mate just continue to say nothing wrong. Then later, there's actually something is wrong, and I was willing to fix it up front, but you kept telling me nothing was wrong. Now I feel like and this is going to sound harsh, but now I feel like I'm babysitting. When I felt like, okay, well, we're two grown adults in a relationship. Now I feel like a babysitter. So now I got to move around and nurture you in a different way, because now I feel like, and I know I sound like I'm talking about us, but no, these are relationship problems I faced in both my marriages and other relationships. It's not just about us. This is something that's going on with people, and it causes problems. Because the guy or the lady or whoever has the discernment to sense something is wrong, when they start digging in trying to figure out what it is, obviously to fix it or get an understanding, and the other person denies them that, that's a whole new problem. It's like, now you're dealing with two problems, and a third is on the way. When what could have warded off any problems if, hey, babe, what's wrong? Well, I just didn't like the way you spoke to me yesterday, or I just didn't like the way you did that. That vocalize it, even if you feel the other person isn't worth your time of you explaining. Or if they don't know what it is, I'm not going to tell them. They shouldn't know what it is. What person may not know what it is. Even if you have to say, well, that's stupid. Okay, let them be stupid, but at least clear the air so you can move on, because you're not going to move on with that. You come to a complete halt. And now it's another problem that's baking in the oven. When you finally release what's bothering you, and you didn't say the magic words that, like, well, I don't want to talk about it, or can we just talk about it later, and just instead of just deflecting it and saying, oh, nothing, and making the other person think there's something wrong with them for asking you what's wrong with you. And then when you finally open that door, well, this is what's been going on. But now you made me feel stupid. And you sit there and looked at me in my eye and made me feel stupid for caring for you. And I started believing, okay, well, it's nothing. Maybe it's all in my head. And then you come with something. It's like, now I'm not really willing to negotiate, to compromise, to move on. Now I'm questioning, okay, what is it about me that she feels she can't just open up to me about whatever's wrong or right? Why is it the only time she can open up to me when things are good? So how did he answer that? Or did he answer the question of how it may have made him feel?
No,
He didn't.
no, he didn't. He didn't get to that. He was just more focused on that the holy relationship you have when you come together as one in the confines of marriage before God.
Okay. So he focused on the end result. Well, I'm glad he did, because the part I mentioned is you in fighting mode right there. You geared up for a fight. Why did you lie to me? Haven't I been good to you? Haven't I shown you where you can talk to me about anything? So why did you lie to me when something was wrong? And then, oddly enough, what turns out to be the problem isn't as big as the problem you're facing now. What was wrong was a smaller problem than now what you're dealing with. I don't know if I can trust her now. If that's the way she sat there and basically, made me feel less of a person for caring about her feelings, and led me to believe that it's all in my head. I feel that's a bit cruel. Some would say, "Oh, you're just taking it too far. You're taking it too far." Well, sometimes people do take it too far, but sometimes it's not taking it too far. It's I'm tired of it happening, or you've been on a straight and narrow path so far, and then someone pulls that to show, oh, no, you guys haven't made it as far as you thought you made it. You haven't come as far as you think you did. You still got way too much work to do. So I'm like, okay, when it happened to me before, it made me feel, well, I'm going to pull back. If she's pulling back like that now, I'm going to pull back. Why am I giving so much and she ain't willing to give so much? I'm going to start pulling back. Knowing the dangers of that, you're two people in love, you're both pulling back. Now an outsider sees that disconnection and pounces on it. Now you have the threats of infidelity over something that was important, but not important enough to let your partner know, hey, I'm not feeling you right now because what A, B, C, D. What's wrong, baby? Nothing. You sure? Because you're not yourself. What do you mean I'm not myself? How am I not myself? That right there. You know it's something wrong, but then you're going to question the other party back. How is it? Well, what are you seeing? Well, how am I not? And you knowing all along there is something wrong. So the other party, like, oh, okay, well, I'm sorry. Well, it just seems like, what do you mean? What do you mean? I'm okay. Are you okay? To me, that's deceitful. If you're willing to go that far with something like that, how far are you willing to go when things are really serious, when I really need you to have my back, when I really need you to be honest with me? So it's like a boat of confusion. Which way are we going? I thought we had our mission statement already, where we both can relax and feel like, okay, she's not here to trick me, or he's not here to trick me. We truly love each other, and we have decided we will not hold anything from each other. And then boom, first watch, here we are. So it gets deep, and that's something that happens a lot in marriage. And sometimes the longer you're married, the more that deceitfulness grows. Baby, what's wrong? Nothing. Well, before I left for work this morning, you were fine. Now somebody upset you at work? No, work was fine. What's wrong? Why you think it's something wrong? There's nothing wrong. Why you always ask me what's wrong? Oh, I'm sorry, baby. Then 24 hours later, well, you know what, that thing you did the other day, I didn't like it. What did I do? Well, we decided we were going to go to this restaurant and we was going to order this, and you ordered something else. And I thought sure we was going to order this and eat this together. I wanted to do this, and you did something different. Well, baby, you told me there was nothing wrong. Well, I didn't know how to talk about it. Well, you should have said, well, not right now, baby. Because if I don't know how to explain what's upsetting me, if my mate asks me what's wrong, I'm going to ensure her that, hey, there's something bothering me. I'm just don't know how to explain it yet. I'm not ready to talk about it right now. Sometimes you have those people that don't want to give that person that chance. And say, no, why can't we talk about it? Is it me? Did I do something? It's like life just hands you that sometimes, where you get punched in the gut and you don't know how to explain it. But with time, you will, and a supportive spouse. But that subject right there, that can go on and on, because I experienced all sides of that, and I know people that have experienced it, and I know people that are experiencing it now. So it's vitally important that when two people sit down and talk about, okay, well, we're going to make sure our communication skills are correct and on point, and you better make sure you check off everything from A to Z. Because if it's something you feel you ain't going to be able to communicate about, you shouldn't be standing 10 toes up, pointing at the person and say, yes, I commit to communicating with you about any and everything in our relationship, because that makes it easier. Because you don't want anybody on the sidelines, on the outside, coming in and getting in your ear about something that you have no idea about. And that's another subject. Hearing something on your mate that you know nothing about, but you're going to give them the benefit of the doubt because you know them better than anybody. You're going to have an investigative ear, sure. But you shouldn't move forward by, well, I'm not just going to say anything. I'm just watching, see if it's true what they said. No. Go ahead and confront them straight up. Straight up confronting a person straight up. As soon as you hear or know about something you need to confront them on, you get more information straight in the straight up approaching them, instead of waiting days and weeks and until you may have gathered what you feel is your investigative work, which you started investigating with a negative eye. It's not investigating well. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. So you start receiving information that may or may not be true, and you hit them with that. Now they have time to rebound because they may have picked up on the mood changes you've made to show that you're investigating it. But when you hit them straight up, as soon as you know something, you catch them off guard. Not saying it in a sneaky way, I'm gonna catch them off guard. But you don't let anything, you don't let the grass grow on any subjects. You go ahead and tackle those things up front. That's what I wish I would have done in some relationships. And that's what I did do. So I saw the differences. It's such a peaceful thing, just confronting it head on. And, the explanations make a lot more sense than days and weeks later. And you've already decided they're guilty already, no matter what explanation they give you. So, yeah, the book on marriage is huge. True commitment, true relationship, true love. Man, try living with someone and committing with someone and sharing everything with someone every day. It's like someone walking around and knowing everything about you, and then suddenly becomes your enemy. And they know where everything is hidden. And then suddenly they're your enemy. So, and that's what it feels like when you hold back. When your partner obviously have a discernment for you, your heart. Baby, what's wrong? That's love. That's not, I'm getting into her business. Now, like I said, some people don't know how to come at you with that. What's wrong with you? You always tripping. Now, that's not going to make it easier for him or her to, explain what's on their mind. The fact is, two people are not going to get along all the time. It's just not going to happen. It's just not in the midst. Two people are not going to agree all the time. It's just not going to happen. You can find sweet ways of doing it. Well, I was thinking about this, baby. When we go on vacation, we ought to do this. Well, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. Oh, okay. Well, we can do that. That's compromise. But you still, had two separate ideas of going on vacation. Somebody had to compromise and say, well, okay, we'll do it your way. Or maybe lovingly, but why don't we do them both? Why don't we just make time and do them both? So both parties are satisfied. It's going to be a lot of push and pull. So the less deceitful tactics you use will make it easier for you guys to sail through 20 years of marriage, 30 years of marriage, 40 years of marriage. But deceitful tactics normally, ruins a marriage within the first year, or certainly within the first 5 years. So you're basically saying what kind of relationship you want when you choose to be deceitful. Until the day comes when ain't nobody gonna want you, because now your deceitfulness is showing on your outside. You're wearing it. Everybody can see it. We all have to submit once we decide to commit to each other. We all have to submit, all of us. So, even more of a submission than buying a house. When you buy a house, you got to give that title company. That title company has to know everything about you and your funds, your resources, how long you've been making money. Are you managing your money right? Are you paying your taxes? What your taxes look like? It doesn't matter if you got the money to buy the house, to pay for the, unless you're paying cash. Even if you're paying cash for the house, you still need the tax forms for the government, and title companies still have to verify a lot of things. Well, that's the same type of verification. You're going to go through in a marriage. It's just not as labeled and as strict. So to hide something from somebody that you committed to be with, your life with, to, and is reckless. I can't think of any other word. Anyway, I talked enough.
Well, so tomorrow I'll see. They still have his books. And I'll pick.
Join us again for another transparent, exciting, and opinionated episode of Relate with Miss Lisa and Ruben. Okay, family, happy dating. And what did he say? Date happy?